Telltale Studios have gone and released episode 1 of The Expanse, a sci-fi thriller set before the events of the TV series. But what if you ain't got a clue what the show is about? What if you've never heard of the Expanse universe? Is this game even for you? Well, fear not, my pedigree chums, because Reggie has got your back as I give you my spoiler-free review in today's video. So grab yourself a cuppa and let's have a chat. Episode 1 of The Expanse was kindly provided free of charge for the purposes of this review, but let me make it clear, it won't sway Reggie's final score one bit. Now, before I even dive into the game, I'm going to hit you straight up with the biggest downer I have about The Expanse Episode 1, and as Reggie's wife proudly likes to tell him, is that it's short in length. You can breeze through this episode in a mere 2 hours, but here's the kicker. Unlike previous Telltale games, where you could buy individual episodes, they're now only giving you the option of the full game, and in my mind that is counterintuitive. In the old days you could start with episode 1 only and see how you fared, then decide if it was right for you before moving on to buying the rest, or going episode by episode. The choice was simply yours. But if I'm asked to pay the full price, then just give me the whole game for sake. Now, the official line from Telltale Studios is as follows. Think of it like your favourite show. You watch an episode, you talk about it with your mates and wonder what happened next. Then a week or so later, the next episode is there. That is what we want to tap into with our games. Some of you might like this approach, but when I'm forking out $40, I just want the whole bloody game in my hands. I get it was all the rage back in the day with the Walking Dead series, which, by the way, I enjoyed immensely, but in a world of streaming where we can binge watch seasons galore and where other games are vying for our attention on a digital platform, I'm not so sure this is still as relevant today. But let me know in the comments if you disagree, because frankly, Reggie is a moany old In The Expanse, you're taking charge of the XO of a ship, and she goes by the name of Kamina Drummer, voiced by none other than Kara G, or is it Gee, who is from the original show. Now, this game's all about the chatter and the backstory, and let me tell you, it's a tough job doing a review without spilling any beans, so I promise, cross my heart, hope to die, no spoilers from me, alright? But if you don't want to risk it, feel free to skip to the next little bit just to be safe and sound. As the XO, you get to have a chinwag with the crew, and at times you're given the choice in how you handle things, whether it's throwing out an insult, settling a dispute, or even having a bit of a flirt. And let me tell you, every choice you make sticks with the characters, and that means later down the line, your story's going to play out differently than everyone else's. Now, The Expanse's tale is packed with mystery. You're sent to check out an abandoned ship, and that is all I'm going to say. My lips are as sealed as a nun. The whole episode revolves around this one objective. What Telltale does like a dream is it keeps you curious, intrigued, and building suspense in a way that'll have you on the edge of your space seat. It all builds up to a grand finale, the crescendo of activity that leaves you hanging on a cliff. So here's the thing, Space Cadets, going into a game like The Expanse, you've got to understand that everything here is about watching a cosmic movie play out, where you have limited interactions with the environment. Now sure, you do get to control your character and make small interactions with the space around you, like reading a data pad or having your character yap about an item that they've discovered, but for the most part, this is very much an on-rails experience, and I do wish they'd put more effort into exploration. Telltale needs to understand that they can still deliver a fantastic story with critical choices while giving us a little extra game to sink our teeth into. For far too long, they've stuck to a formula and refuse to reinvent themselves. Look at a franchise like Resident Evil, lads. They took some bloody brave choices going first person, and here it's the same story of what is needed. There's nothing wrong with the design choice in that sense, but if you've played previous games, you know exactly what to expect. And even with the new setting and fancy graphics, everything feels a bit deja vu. And to be honest, at times, it feels a bit dry. And there were moments in episode 1 where I felt like a passenger in this cosmic environment rather than an active player seeking out every little nook and cranny. I reckon they could add a bit more oomph to the whole experience. Your main mission in The Expanse is to make choices, and I'm talking about big ones that'll have a genuine impact on how your cosmic adventure plays out. This ain't like the ending of the Mass Effect trilogy where they just throw a different colour at you in a cinematic. No. Here your choices will pretty much dictate everything about how your own story unfolds. Now there are two types of lads in the world: those that like the build up to a porn video, or those that simply scrub through to the action. The thing with Telltale games is that it's the former. The most enjoyment comes from that build up, with voice acted scenes helping to develop that orgasmic finale. Telltale series might not be the game for you if you prefer hardcore action, but if you're after a sci-fi story romp to keep you hooked until something like Starfield comes along, then this is the ticket to ride, my friend. Now, the voice acting in this cosmic tale is mostly top-notch. They're delivering lines with flair, throwing in the right pauses, and showing all the right emotions. Whether it's anger or concern, they got it down. It's these voices that really give life to the characters in this universe, and I must say, the character building is spot on. Each one's got their own style, their own uniqueness, and already I'm getting a good feel for who they are. But hold on a tick, it's not all as tight as it could be. Some parts of the script felt a little off, given that stuff happening on the screen around you didn't quite sync with what they were saying. And yeah, I get it, this is based on the books with their own lingo and whatnot, but sometimes I couldn't quite place the accent. It was like mixing a Russian with a Jamaican and a Thai. It felt like Putin had made love to a ladyboy whilst listening to Bob Marley, but I suppose that's the point of it all. It's not bad by any stretch, by the way, it just had me quite distracted. What can't be denied is the downright breathtaking soundscape in this game. The musical score is like a symphony of space, absolutely superb. As I said before, Telltale knows how to weave suspense and tension, and the music does its part. It comes in just right when you're making them key decisions, or when you're taking in a jaw-dropping view of the cosmos. It's all expertly done, and when you combine it with the great sound effects, you've got yourself a top-notch package. In a story-driven game like this, everything hinges on the sound design, and thankfully The Expanse blasts it out the bloody park. And graphically, The Expanse is a tour de force for Telltale Studios, and it's clear they've put their all into this one. Everything looks as solid as a rock, with high fidelity models and fine details in the environment. Just take a gander at this scene here, lads. They really put in the work to make it as immersive as hell. But I'll be honest, the interiors could still use a bit more loving. As you wander around, you might notice a few reused assets here and there. Now, don't get me wrong, the characters themselves are modelled splendidly. The details on their gloves, for instance, make them feel real enough to touch. But then you see assets like this metal door and it all looks so flat and lifeless. It's like it's missing a bit of that polish. And don't get me started on the British teeth. Jesus Christ, when will we learn how to do proper teeth in games? This one, like many others, is a bit of a disaster. If they put some more work on screen space reflections or add in ray tracing, it could have done wonders, especially for the high-end rigs. That's because the lighting is a bit of a mixed bag. Some bits are spot on, like the LED reflected on your helmet, drawing you in close to them faces as it refracts on that perplexed glass. But then you come across scenes that are right mess with lighting, where it goes all wonky. Take this part here. The light on the right side of your body makes sense, like there's a nearby star giving it that glow, which also matches the planet below. But then the ship is all in darkness when it should be getting lit up from the same direction. And to top it off, we've got a whole different light source on this part of the ship, showing a completely different direction of the sun. Call me picky, but it's like they nailed it artistically in many areas, but what they didn't nail is the actual technical aspects. All in all, The Expanse though, it looks bloody grand in most areas, and with a bit more polish, it could have been a real masterpiece. So let me be straight with you about this score. Right now, we're talking about episode 1 only, and the truth is the score that I'm giving is utter bullshit because it ain't the whole damn game. But let me ask this: does episode 1 make you want to stick around for more? Of course it bloody does, my friends, and that is what is important. This here is Telltale's finest looking game to date, no doubt about it. It's a sight to behold, and even with my little nitpicks, it doesn't take away from the immersion and the sound. A dream, pure and simple, no complaints there. Now I can't go spoiling the story for you, so I'll keep it hush-hush, but trust me when I say it kept me hooked. It's intriguing, curious, and downright exciting. But here's the thing, we need a lot more game here. If they're going to keep dishing out episodes, they better come up with a longer campaign. No skipping out on that. And you know what else? The story's got to keep cranking up the pace to really hit the mark. So my darling lovelies, take it from Reggie. Episode 1 is just the beginning. It's an exciting start to what could be a real cracker of a tale. Or, if they it, it could be a right dud. Until next time, love to you all, Reggie